David speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. I represent Brit-Am Hebrew nations that believers of the lost 10 tribes are now to be found amongst Western peoples. We are now discussing Judah. Why the Jews are Judah? This is the second talk that we have given on this same subject. The previous talk may also be listened to, and you will probably find things on it that it will not be here. Whereas here we're going to give a few points, slightly different perspective. And at all events, the subject is important. The subject is important. The Jews are Judah. The Jews are Judah according to the Bible. The Jews were exiled, and they went all over the world, and they took in other peoples. They took in converts, and they made them Jews. A convert, according to the Bible, becomes a Jew, becomes an Israelite. He is a full-fledged Israelite. Many of these converts were actually descendants from Jews who had got lost, although descendants from the 10 tribes who had got lost, and some of them were not. And also the different Jewish peoples are not only different from each other in their different regions because of input from foreigners, but also there's environmental influence which is very strong, and it's not recognized sufficiently by scientists. Evolution is not true. I do not believe in evolution, but there is such a thing as adaptation to the environment, an inbuilt mechanism that adapts to the environment, and once this mechanism is put in place, the acquired differences are inherited or passed onwards. That doesn't matter. You can argue this. At all events, according to the Bible, the present-day Jews are Judah. That is the bottom line. The Bible recognizes the Jews as Judah, and that is what we have to deal with, and that is what we believe in. Anyone who is against this, who disagrees with it, that is their problem. And they don't worry. The anti-Semites, those who hate Jews, will always find a reason or some type of justification for the innate hatred of the Jew, because they hate God and they hate themselves, and they are against Jews because the Jews represent God and the Bible in this world. And they criticize the Jews all for being too exclusive, or on the other hand for taking in non-Jews and making them Jewish. As if they were not, whatever the Jew does is going to get criticized for it. But now we're going to discuss the Jews from the point of view of the Bible, and we're going to prove that the present-day Jews are descended from Judah, and they are Judah according to biblical prophecy. And we should also point out that in Scripture often a distinction is made between Judah and Israel. Historically there were 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel split into two different sections. In the south there was the kingdom of Judah, and in the north there was the kingdom of Israel, and comprised of 10 tribes. These 10 tribes were taken into exile by the Assyrians. They lost their identity and they disappeared. Historically, we have proven, and also from the Bible and from biblical and rabbinical sources, we have shown that the lost 10 tribes eventually, on the whole, as coherent identities, reached Western Europe, and that is where their descendants are to be found there, and also amongst their offshoots overseas. But in the south, we had the kingdom of Judah, which did not lose its identity, which remained there and was comprised of the tribe of Judah, and afterwards of Levites also joined them, and also there was the tribe of Benjamin with them, and there were minority adherents from the other tribes, but this whole body was known as Judah, the kingdom of Judah, and everyone in it is referred to as Jews. And later this kingdom of Judah, the inhabitants of this kingdom of Judah were taken into exile by the Babylonians, who destroyed the first temple. From Babylon they returned, a portion of them returned under Ezra and Nehemiah and other leaders, though many of them stayed in Babylon in the region in their places of exile, but those who returned to re-establish the kingdom of Judah eventually was conquered by the Romans, and the Romans destroyed it. They destroyed the second temple, and the Jews were scattered all over the world. In scriptural terms, Judah is referred to as Judah, Zion and Jerusalem in the Bible. And they went all over the world, and they are the present-day Jewish people. Zephaniah in chapter 2 predicted that Judah would inherit the coastal regions of Palestine, that is, Ashdod, Ekron, Ashkelon, and all the coastland when they return their captivity. See Zephaniah 2, verse 7, the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah. They shall feed their flocks there. In the houses of Ashkelon they shall lie down at evening. For the Lord their God shall intervene for them and return their captives. So here we have Jews coming back and settling the coastal areas of what was then Palestine, and also Ashkelon and the other regions of the coastal areas, which are the Israelites in 1940. The Jews when they returned in before 1948 and not after the establishment of the State of Israel. That is where the State of Israel began from. This point was pointed out to us by Stephen Collins. Stephen Collins gave us 4 different points why the Jews are now Judah. And we will go through this point. This is the first point. This chapter, Zephaniah chapter 2, that predicted that the Israelites in the end, the Jewish Israelites, when they return in the end times, will inhabit the coastal areas which the Jews did do. As Stephen Collins pointed out. Stephen Collins also pointed out that in Zechariah chapter 14, which incidentally supplements Zechariah, it explains how Judah will dwell in Jerusalem and fight in defense of Jerusalem during the same period. Judah also will fight at Jerusalem, see Zechariah 14:14. Genesis, as Stephen Collins also pointed out, Genesis 49 predicted that Judah in the last days will be like an old lion, that is an old nation, and a young lion, will be both an old lion and a young lion, a fighting nation in the end times that will arouse the awe of all those around her. This speaks the present-day state of Israel, which is both an old and a new nation. Theodor Herzl, who helped establish modern Zionism as we know it, he wrote his vision of the future modern state of Israel in a book called Old New Land. And that is also where one of the explanations for the name Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv also is also supposed to somehow or other encompass this notion. The Jews have it that they will be both an old nation and a new nation. This is what the Jews are. They're an old people. They are more ancient than every other nation in the earth, or most nations of the earth. The Jews still exist. All the Persians, the Romans, the Greeks, and all the other empires, they disappeared. Other peoples have settled in their lands, but they are not exactly the same as they were then. The Jews, on the other hand, have remained who they are and what they are. Despite being scattered all over the world, they have retained their identity. They are an old people and they are a new people. And this is what Genesis 48 describes Judah as being in the end times. It says, Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall acknowledge. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp, a young lion, the Gu Aryeh in Hebrew. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, an Aryeh in Hebrew. And as a lion, a Levi in Hebrew, an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? So here we have Judah described as a warrior nation, a nation that possesses military prowess in the end times, and is likened both to an old lion and a young lion, which is in this the state of Israel in its present state. With the Jews returning, the Jews who are both an old nation and a nation that is renewing itself, re-establishing itself, going through a second childhood with the vigor of the real vigor of a young and developing entity. And these points are from Stephen Collins. We have added on to these points another 8 points of our own, which also prove the same thing and establish them. This is what Brit Am, Hebrew Nations, our organisation, has shown. We have shown that the Jews were persecuted by the Gentiles, and it has been prophesied that Judah would be. It was prophesied in the Bible that Judah would be persecuted. See Zechariah 1:15, Zechariah 8:13, Isaiah chapter 53. Isaiah 42:10, Psalms 44:22. The Jews were persecuted, and it had been prophesied that the Judah would be persecuted. It had been prophesied that Judah would be persecuted by the Gentiles, and this is what happened to the Jews. The Jews kept the law, and it had been prophesied that Judah would keep the law. See Psalm 69, 108:90, Genesis 49:10, Zechariah 8:23. It also been prophesied the Jews would keep 4 fasts of mourning over the destruction of the second temple. See Zechariah 8:19. It says the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th. And the Jews do keep 4 in the course of the year, the Jewish year. The Jews on the 4th month, as predicted on the 17th of Tammuz, they have a feast, a fast day connected with the destruction of the temple. The 9th of Av on the 5th month is also a fast day connected with the destruction of the temple. We have the 3rd of Tishri, the fast of Gedalia, which is also a fast day connected with exile, and the destruction of the first temple. And we have the fast of the 10th month and the 10th of Tebet, which is connected with the destruction of the temple. And this is what Zechariah 8:19 prophesied Judah would do, and this is what Judah does do. Also concerning the end times, Isaiah in chapter 48 verse 1 says that the descendants of Judah would be known as Israel in the end times. See, this a house of Jacob which are called by the name of Israel, and I come forth out of the waters of Judah. Micah 48 predicts that in the end times the beginning of the return of all of the houses of Israel. The first dominion will be to the daughter of Jerusalem, that is to Judah. Afterwards the 10 tribes would come, but the first dominion, the first establishment in the land of Israel would be that of Judah, descendants of the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And that Judah would prepare the way for the others, as also seen in other verses such as Hosea 6:10. And it also says in Genesis 48:10 that Judah would be recognized as Judah, or as Israel, whereas the 10 tribes will not be so recognized until the end times. It says a Shevet, it's translated as Shevet, but actually Shevet in Hebrew, Shevet meaning the tribal identity will not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and to him shall be the gathering of the peoples. In other words, the scepter, the Shevet, the tribal recognition will always be with Judah, whereas the 10 tribes, the other Israelites, would lose their tribal identification, and this is what happened. And this explanation, which ties in with the literal Hebrew verses and Hebrew words, I saw it in a commentary by Rabbi Manasseh ben Yisrael. It's not something that we discovered on our own. We took it from the book Conciliator, and this is an explanation given by him, and he also seems to have been inspired by commentators who went before him. And throughout the Bible, and especially in the prophetic works, there are references to Judah that could not be fulfilled by anyone but the present-day Jews. It's prophesied that Judah would suffer for being Jewish, that Judah would keep the law, that eventually would be acknowledged by his brother Israel. It was not prophesied that Judah would be lost. It was prophesied that Judah would keep his tribal identity, as we saw in Genesis 34:10 and elsewhere. Joseph and the 10 tribes, however, they would lose their identity. It was prophesied that the 10 tribes would be lost, and they would forget who they were, and they would not be recognized by Judah as being descendant of Israel, and they themselves would not know their own ancestry until the end times. See Isaiah 24:3, 49:13, 14, 21, Isaiah 49:21, Hosea 1:8, Jeremiah 3:6-7, and other places. And throughout the Bible there are references to Judah that could not be fulfilled by anyone other than by the present-day Jewish people. And this is the truth. This is what the Bible says. This is what we have. The 10 northern tribes, however, were taken into exile. It was prophesied that they would lose their identity. They did lose their identity. Whereas it was never prophesied that Judah would lose his identity, and he never did. Judah is referred to as always being recognizable as Judah. At all events, the 10 tribes who lost their identity are called upon in their places of exile to examine themselves and to return. That means that the message has to go out, the message will go out, and we are doing our part in spreading the message. And it must go out. Ephraim is called upon to reflect upon his past and to return to his sources. See Jeremiah 31:21. In the last days, the 10 tribes will return and reunite with Judah. See Ezekiel 37. And what happened? Judah represents the tribes of Judah, Benjamin and Levi. In the book of Esther, we have Mordecai and Esther, where it is expressly said that they are from the tribe of Benjamin, but they're also called Jews. Mordecai the Jew, Ha-Yehudi, it says. And then it says it was from the tribe of Benjamin. From there we learn that all members of the kingdom of Judah were known as Jews. So that is what the Bible refers to them, and that's what everyone else refers to them. And they also included most of the tribe of Levi and small representative portions of all the other tribes, and they were in the kingdom of Judah, and they gave rise to the Jewish people. And they are usually referred to as Judah, but sometimes they are referred to as Israel. They are also sometimes referred to as Israel, even though Israel is also maybe used, it depends upon the context, as referring only to the 10 tribes, only to the northern kingdom, or to all the 12 tribes together. The term Israel is also sometimes used for Judah. See Ezra 2:2, 2:5-9, 2:7, 3:1, also, and other places in Ezra, also in Ezekiel 2:3, 3.5, 8.10, 8:11, 9.8, and other places. And so this is also worth noting, that this is how they were identified, and that Judah became the Jews. Judah historically was separate from the 10 tribes. The 10 tribes were conquered by Assyria and taken into exile. Judah was also shortly afterwards, attacked by Assyria. A good portion of the Jewish people, or the people in Judah, were also taken into exile by the Assyrians. And they joined the 10 tribes, so that the 10 tribes do also have descendants of the tribe of Judah amongst them. Nevertheless, those Jews who were in Jerusalem, and it was and at that time was a good portion of the whole of Judah, because many of the Jews from the outlying areas had come into the city of Jerusalem to escape the Assyrians. They escaped. It was predicted that from those who escaped would arise a remnant who would further the Jewish people. It says in 2 Kings 19 verses 30 to 31, and the remnant that has escaped of the house of Judah shall yet again take root downward and bear fruit upward. Out of Jerusalem shall go forth the remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion. And the zeal of the Lord of hosts shall do this. So Judah would be reborn from those in Jerusalem. The others would be in effect associated with the 10 tribes and link up with them. In future the 10 tribes will return. Now Isaiah 49:21 describes Judah when he sees the lost 10 tribes returning as being loath to accept them. Judah will not want to accept the 10 tribes when he sees them. He will not believe it. He will find it hard to accept. Isaiah describes it. We can imagine it. It says, you shall say in your heart, Isaiah 49:21, you shall say in your heart, this is Judah speaking to himself, say in your heart, who has begotten me these, who bore me these? I was alone, I lost my children, desolate, a captive, removing to and fro, was kicked out or thrown out, chucked around from here to there. Who have brought up these? Where are all these people? Where were they? Where weren't they helping me? Behold, I was left alone. Where had they been? That is what Judah will say. And Judah will not want to accept the 10 tribes when they come back at first. But later Judah will accept them, and there will be a reconciliation. And the two sections of the Israelite nation will reunite and become one nation in the land of Israel, under one king, under one Torah, as it is prophesied in Ezekiel 37 and elsewhere. And also in Isaiah 11:11, where it describes where the antagonism between Judah and Ephraim will be removed in the end times. And they will cooperate in expelling the Arabs and sending them out to somewhere to the west by air. Here we have a separate talk and articles on this subject. In the end times, the righteousness of Judah will be acknowledged. See Zechariah 8:2-3. In those days 10 men out of all the languages of the nations even shall take hold of the garment of him that is a Jew, saying, we'll go with you, we have heard that the God is with you. And 49:9, as we saw, Judah is a lion's whelp, the son of a lion. From the plain, my son, you are gone up, you stooped down, he crouched as a lion, as an old lion, who shall rouse him? And Judah will once again have his youth renewed, he once again be formidable. But in their period of exile, Judah will have been alone. Judah will have been defenseless. Hosea 1:7 spoke of this. He said, I have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by the Lord their God, and will save them by bow, not by sword, not by battle, by horses, not by horsemen. And then he goes on, and this is describing Judah going into exile. Judah was not a people who could defend themselves. So at the mercy of the enemies, And this was necessary for survival when you are outnumbered and you're young and children and your women are all hostages, as if to say, to multitudes of savage heathen around you. You have to bend. You have to. That's what they had to be. They could not afford to become a dead hero. Judah had to remove himself from assertive aggression. The Jews became sheep to the slaughter, as it says in Psalms 44:22. And this was an aspect of Judah in his period of exile, on the whole, in general. Ephraim, on the other hand, was destined to become like a lion, a raging lion in the flock, tearing down and no one with impunity, and no one could deliver. It is described in Micah chapter 5. Nevertheless, so we see there was a difference, prophesied difference between Judah and Ephraim, between Judah and the 10 tribes, and this difference did exist in amongst the Jews, but nevertheless the potential of Judah is still there. In the end times, Judah will return. Judah will once again become a warrior nation, and once again he shall assert himself guided by the Messiah, in the messianic process. In the spirit of the Messiah, Judah will take vengeance upon his enemies and his adversaries. And it says, see Isaiah 34, chapter 34 especially, it says, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion. God will take revenge upon the Gentiles for how they treated the Jews. And this vengeance will have been deserved. God will avenge the blood of his servants. See Deuteronomy 32:4-3. And it says, Zechariah 2:8, whoever touches you touches the eye of God, will be punished. And by harming the Jews as if they harmed God himself, and God will take revengeance. It says in Zechariah 1:15, I was very so displeased with the heathen, for I was a little displeased, and they helped forward their affliction. So maybe God was angry with the Jews for a certain reason, and maybe they did deserve some punishment, but they went overboard. The Gentiles went overboard, and they did much too much than was necessary, and they will be punished for it. And not only will they be punished for it, but in the end times they will come and they will acknowledge Judah. They will submit themselves to Judah. And it says in Isaiah 60:14, the sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you. And so this we can all this is all a subject for the Messianic period. At all events, we see that Judah was prophesied that Judah would have certain characteristics, and the Jews did have these characteristics of Judah. The 10 tribes had different characteristics, and these characteristics of the 10 tribes have been fulfilled amongst Western nations. And the Judah and the 10 tribes are two different sections of the one people. In the end times they shall reunite, and they shall be no longer divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. See Ezekiel 37:22. Once again there will be one people. The two sticks of Judah and of Ephraim, the house of Israel, shall come together. They shall be joined once more, and they shall no longer be separate. Thank you. May God bless all of you.